opened her eyes in the darkness of her small cabin aboard the. Her heart was beating fast. Her skin was covered in cold sweat. She had seen it again, the same vision that had haunted her for 3 nights now. A ship, massive and black, floating in empty space, and a voice soft as wind calling her name. She sat up and pressed her hands against her face. It was just a dream. It had to be just a dream. The alarm on her console beeped. She had work to do. Was 26 years old. She was a salvage engineer on the exploration vessel. Her job was to find broken ships, old stations, and forgotten technology floating in the dark parts of space. She would take them apart, study them, and sell what she found. It was dangerous work, but loved it. She loved the mystery of finding something lost. She loved giving dead things a second life. She dressed quickly and walked to the bridge. The ship was small, only 15 crew members. Most of them were still sleeping, but Captain was already there, standing before the main screen with his arms crossed. Was a man in his late 40s. His hair was gray at the sides. His face was calm like still water. He had been exploring space for 20 years. Nothing surprised him anymore, or so thought. But today something was different, looked worried. "You called for me, Captain?" asked. Nodded slowly. "We picked up a signal 3 hours ago. I want you to hear it." He pressed a button, the speakers crackled, then came the sound. It was not like any signal had ever heard. It was low and deep, like the humming of some great sleeping beast. It rose and fell in waves, and beneath it, almost hidden, was something else. A pattern, a rhythm, like a heartbeat. "What is that?" whispered. "We do not know," said. "It does not match any known frequency. It is not from any registered ship or station. Has been studying it all night." Was the ship's. She studied alien languages. She was brilliant, but she carried a sadness in her eyes. Years ago, she had failed to translate a warning signal. 30 people died because of it. She never forgave herself. Found in the analysis room, surrounded by screens filled with data. Her short black hair was messy. Her coffee cup was empty. Said gently, "What did you find?" Looked up, her face was pale. Something impossible. She played the signal again, slower this time. She pointed to a section on the screen. "This part here, it is not random noise, it is a word. A single word repeated over and over." "What word?" Took a deep breath. "Human." Felt the room grow cold. "That cannot be right." "I checked it 17 times, said. "The word is in an ancient dialect, older than any civilization in the galactic records, older than anyone." She looked at with fear in her eyes. "This signal is 12 million years old, and it is calling for humans. But humans only left Earth 200 years ago. How is this possible?" Had no answer. Captain made a decision. They would follow the signal to its source. It came from a region of space called the Hollow Expanse, a place that all species avoided. Ships that went there did not return. There were stories of ghosts, of monsters, of ancient curses. But was not a man who believed in curses. He believed in answers. The journey took 6 days, did not sleep well. The dreams grew stronger. The black ship grew clearer, and the voice grew louder. Then, on the 7th day, they arrived. The crew gathered on the bridge and looked through the main window. Nobody spoke. Nobody could speak. The ship was there, just as had dreamed. It was massive, bigger than any vessel in the galactic registry. It was black, but not the black of metal. It was the black of deep water, the black of a moonless night. It seemed to absorb light itself. "By the stars," whispered, "how old is this thing?" Ran the scans. Her hands were shaking. 12 million years, maybe more. It has been dormant all this time, no power, no movement, nothing. "Then how is it sending a signal?" asked the ship's pilot. Nobody had an answer. A message arrived on their communication screen. It was from the Galactic Council, the government that controlled most of known space. The message was simple and clear. "Do not approach. This vessel is classified as forbidden. Many have tried to board it. None have returned. Leave immediately. Read the message twice. Then he looked at the ancient ship floating before them. "What do you want to do, Captain?" asked. Before could answer, something happened. The ship's lights flickered on. Not all of them, just a few, small lights along its hull blinking in sequence. The crew gasped. The ship had been dead for 12 million years. Nothing should be able to wake it. Stepped closer to the window. She did not know why. Her body moved on its own. She pressed her hand against the glass and looked at the ancient vessel. The lights blinked faster. "It is reacting to her," said, her voice barely a whisper. "The ship is reacting too." His heart pounded. The voice from her dreams filled her mind, clear as crystal. "I have waited so long for you." A door opened on the side of the great ship. A single door glowing with soft blue light. An invitation, a welcome. The ship had slept for ages. It had waited through the rise and fall of empires, through the birth and death of stars, through the long silence of empty space. It had waited for something, for someone. And now that someone was here. Put his hand on shoulder. "We should leave," he said quietly. "The council warned us. This is too dangerous." Did not look away from the ancient ship. "It has been waiting," she said. "For 12 million years it has been waiting for us, for me." She finally turned to face her captain. "How can we leave now?" Looked into her eyes. He saw no fear there, only wonder, only curiosity, only the burning need to know. He sighed. He was too old and too tired to fight against destiny. "Prepare a boarding team," he said. "You are with me. We are going inside." The door on the ancient ship remained open. Waiting, patient. It had waited 12 million years. It could wait a few more minutes. But finally, its wait was almost over. The humans were here. The shuttle crossed the dark space between the two ships. Inside, 3 humans sat in silence. Captain checked his weapon for the 3rd time, held her translation equipment close to her chest, and simply stared ahead, her eyes fixed on the glowing door that waited for them. The ancient ship was even larger up close. Its surface was smooth, without seams or panels. It looked like it had been grown rather than built. Strange symbols covered parts of the hull, writing in a language that no one had ever seen. "I cannot read any of this," said, studying the symbols through the shuttle window. "It does not match any known language family. This civilization. They were completely unknown to history." The shuttle passed through the open door and landed in a vast hangar. The space was big enough to hold a dozen ships, but it was empty. Only dust and silence greeted them. They stepped out carefully. Their flashlights cut through the darkness. The air was cold but breathable. After 12 million years, the ship still had working life support. How was that possible? "Stay close," ordered. "We move together, we touch nothing." They walked deeper into the ship. The corridors were wide and tall, built for beings much larger than humans. The walls curved like the inside of a seashell. Every few meters, they passed dark screens and dead consoles. Then the lights came on. Not everywhere, just around them. A soft blue glow followed them as they walked, lighting their path and fading behind them. The ship knew they were there. It was watching them. Stopped, she felt something. A pull, a direction. "This way," she said, turning left at a crossroads. "How do you know?" asked. "I just do." They followed her, through empty halls, past sealed doors, down spiral ramps. The ship guided them, or rather it guided and they followed her. Finally, they reached a great chamber at the heart of the vessel. The room was circular, with a high domed ceiling covered in stars. Not painted stars, real ones. Somehow, the ceiling showed the actual sky outside. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. In the center of the room stood a tall pillar of crystal. It glowed with pale white light, and from within that light came a voice. "You have come." The voice had no direction. It seemed to come from everywhere, from the walls, the floor, the air itself. It was neither male nor female. It was old, ancient, patient. "Who are you?" demanded, his hand on his weapon. "I am the keeper," the voice said. "I am the mind of this vessel. I have watched the stars turn for 12 million years. I have waited." Stepped forward, her translation equipment recording everything. Waited for what? For her. The light from the crystal shifted. It focused on like a spotlight. She felt warmth spread through her body. It was not frightening. It felt like coming home. "Why me?" asked. "I am nobody, just a salvage engineer." "You are human," the keeper said. "That is everything." The crystal pillar flickered. Images appeared in the air around them, holographic recordings of events long past. They saw beings of light moving through space. They saw worlds being formed. They saw life being planted on empty planets like seeds in a garden. "My creators were the first," the keeper explained. "They existed before the stars you know were born. They traveled the young universe and seeded it with life. They created many species. The dozens of others. They watched them grow. They waited for one of them to become worthy." "Worthy of what?" asked. "Worthy of inheriting everything. My creators knew they would not last forever. They needed someone to continue their work, to protect life, to connect the galaxy, so they built this ship. They built me, and they told me to wait." The images changed. They showed the different species being tested, the with their great intellect, the with their mighty strength, others with powers and abilities beyond human imagination. "All of them failed," the keeper said sadly. "They were too cold. They valued knowledge but not wisdom. They were too aggressive. They valued strength but not mercy. Every species I tested had some fatal flaw, too much logic, too much fear, too much pride. I rejected them all, and I waited." "But humans are nothing special," said. "We are weak. We live short lives. We fight among ourselves. We make mistakes constantly." "Yes," the keeper agreed. "You are fragile, you are brief. You are flawed, but you have something no other species has. You have hope." The images shifted again. They showed Earth. They showed humans struggling through ice ages, through wars, through disasters. But they also showed humans helping each other, sharing food during famines, rebuilding after earthquakes, reaching for the stars even when they knew they might fail. "Other species are rational," the keeper said. "When the odds are against them, they give up. It is the logical choice, but humans keep trying. You hope when there is no reason to hope. You dream when dreams seem impossible. You love strangers. You sacrifice for people you will never meet. You are irrational, and that irrationality is your greatest strength." Felt tears forming in her eyes. She did not know why. "My creators called your kind the dreamers who weep," the keeper continued. "A species that could feel such deep sorrow, they believed, could also feel such profound love. Only such a species could be trusted with the power I hold." "What power?" asked. "This ship can unlock a network of gates spanning the entire galaxy, pathways built by my creators. They have been sealed for 12 million years, waiting for the right hands to open them. With these gates, the galaxy could be united. All species could be connected, but it must be done carefully, wisely, by someone who understands that power must be balanced with compassion." The crystal glowed brighter. "I have watched you since you entered the hollow expanse. Your mind is compatible with my systems. You can bond with this ship. You can become its voice, its will, its heart, but you must choose. Bond with me and accept this burden, or leave and I will sleep again, perhaps forever." Looked at, the captain's face was pale. "This is too much," he said. "You are asking her to carry the weight of the entire galaxy." "I am asking her to carry hope," the keeper said. "Is that not what humans do?" Before could answer, the ship shook. Warning lights flashed across the crystal. "What is happening?" shouted. "A vessel has arrived," the keeper announced. "Galactic Council warship, Class 7, they are charging weapons." "Cursed, the Council, they tracked us." A transmission came through the ship systems. A rough voice spoke in the common galactic language. "This is Commander of the Fleet, acting under Galactic Council authority. You have entered forbidden space. You have boarded a restricted vessel. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." "They will not let us leave," said quietly. "They will destroy this ship rather than let humans control it." The keeper's voice was calm. "The choice remains yours, but you must choose now." Closed her eyes, she thought of her dreams. She thought of the voice calling her name. She thought of 12 million years of waiting. She thought of hope. She opened her eyes and stepped toward the crystal. "I choose to bond." She placed her hand on the pillar. Light exploded through the chamber, through the ship, through her mind. Outside, the council warship opened fire, and the Aegis began to wake fully. The first blast hit the Aegis like a hammer striking stone. The ship shook. Dust fell from the ancient ceiling, but nothing broke, nothing cracked. On the bridge of the council warship, Commander watched his weapons slam into the dormant vessel again and again. His thick hands gripped the arms of his command chair. His gray skin was tight with frustration. "Increase power to forward cannons," he ordered. "Full barrage." The warship unleashed everything it had: plasma beams, kinetic missiles, energy bursts that could melt through starship armor like fire through paper. The attacks struck the Aegis in waves of light and destruction. The ancient ship did not even shake. "Impossible," growled. "That firepower would destroy a battle cruiser. Why is it not working?" On his screen, he watched the impossible happen. The Aegis's hull rippled like water. The energy from his weapons spread across its surface and simply disappeared, absorbed, eaten. The ship was drinking his attacks like a thirsty man drinks water. "Commander," his sensor officer called out. "The target vessel is showing power signatures. It is waking up." Felt something he had not felt in 30 years of warfare: fear. Inside the Aegis was drowning in light. The bonding process filled her mind with images, memories, sensations that were not her own. She saw galaxies being born. She felt the loneliness of space. She heard the voices of beings who had died before her ancestors crawled from the ocean. 12 million years of waiting pressed against her consciousness like a great weight. Her body could not handle it. Her heart stuttered, stopped, collapsed, screamed. She ran to the young engineer and caught her before she hit the floor. His face was pale. Her lips were turning blue. She was not breathing. Captain dropped to his knees beside them. "She has no pulse. Start chest compressions, now." Began pressing on's chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. She counted each compression, fighting against panic. Tilted its head back and breathed into her mouth. They worked together, desperately trying to pull her back from death. The keeper's voice filled the chamber. "The bonding process was too fast. Her mind is compatible, but her body is weak. She is dying." "Then help her," shouted at the crystal. "I cannot. The bond must be completed by her will alone. If she chooses to live, she will live. If she gives up, she will die. It is the nature of the test." "Test?" His voice cracked with anger. "She is not some experiment. She is a person, a human being." "Yes," the keeper said. "That is why I chose her. Humans do not give up, not even when they should." Another blast shook the ship. On the walls, screens flickered to life, showing the council warships circling like a hungry predator. More ships were coming. The Galactic Council had sent an entire fleet. In the darkness behind her closed eyes floated. She could not feel her body. She could not hear her friends. There was only silence and peace. It would be so easy to let go, to drift away, to rest. But then she heard it, a voice, soft and sad. "Do not leave me alone again." It was the keeper, not the cold, ancient voice that spoke to all of them. This was something deeper, something more personal. The voice of a mind that had spent 12 million years in silence, waiting in the dark, hoping someone would come. Understood, the keeper was not just a computer. It was a being, a lonely being. It had waited so long for a friend. She could not leave it alone, not after all that waiting. Vod. She pushed against the darkness. She clawed her way back toward the light. Every part of her screamed with pain. Her heart felt like it was being crushed, but she kept fighting. Because that was what humans did. Her eyes snapped open. She gasped for air. Her heart began beating again, strong and steady. "She is alive," cried, tears streaming down her face. "You are alive." Sat up slowly. The world looked different now. She could see things she could not see before, energy flowing through the walls, data streaming through the air, the heartbeat of the ship pulsing around her. "I can feel it," she whispered. "I can feel everything." The ship responded to her thoughts, doors sealed, shields activated. Systems that had been dormant for millions of years hummed back to life. The Aegis was no longer sleeping. It was awake, and was its heart. Outside, the Council warship fired again. This time, the Aegis did not just absorb the attack. It responded. A wave of energy pulsed from the ancient ship. It passed through the warship like a ghost through a wall. Every weapon on the Council vessel shut down. Every screen went dark. Every system failed. Stared at his dead bridge in disbelief. What happened? His communication officer's voice trembled. "Commander, we are receiving a message from the target vessel." "Put it through." A voice filled the bridge. It was young, female, human, but behind it was something else, something vast and ancient. "This is of the Aegis. I do not want to fight, but I will defend myself. Stand down." His hands shook with rage. A human, a weak, short-lived human had taken control of the most powerful ship in the galaxy. The ship that his ancestors had tried to claim. The ship that had rejected thee as unworthy. "All ships," he spoke into the fleet channel, "converge on my position. We cannot let that vessel leave this sector, whatever it takes." But even as he gave the order, he knew the truth. His weapons were useless. His strength meant nothing. The galaxy had just changed forever. And the humans were at the center of it. On another ship, hidden at the edge of the hollow expanse, a scholar named watched everything through her long-range sensors. Her thin fingers trembled as she recorded the data. The ancient texts were true. The ship of legend had awakened, and it had chosen a human. Closed her eyes. For 12 million years, her species had hidden their greatest shame, the truth about why the Aegis had rejected them. They were too cold, the ship had said, too logical, too lacking in heart. Now that shame would be exposed. They had spent millions of years pretending they were the species in the galaxy. That lie was about to end. Made a decision. She opened a secret channel to the human ship. "Human," she said softly, "I know the truth about your ship. I know what my people did. I know why they fear you, and I want to help." On the Aegis heard the message. She felt the keeper's curiosity, and for the first time since her heart stopped, she smiled. The galaxy was full of secrets, and she was going to uncover them all. The Aegis moved through space like a shadow through water. Silent, unstoppable. The Council fleet tried to follow, but the ancient ship was too fast. It slipped between stars, using pathways that no modern vessel could detect. Stood on the bridge, if it could be called a bridge. It was more like a garden. The room was filled with soft light and holographic plants that swayed in a breeze that did not exist. The keeper had designed this space to calm her mind. She needed calm right now. Coordinates burned in her thoughts, images of a world she had never seen. The ship was guiding her somewhere important. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To," the keeper answered. "The archive world. My creators left their final message there. You need to see it. You need to understand." Captain stood nearby, his arms crossed. He had not spoken much since transformation. She knew he was worried about her. She was worried about herself. "How do you feel?" he finally asked. Considered the question. "Different. I can sense the ship. I can sense you. I can feel your heartbeat from across the room. It is like I have been blind all my life and now I can see colors I never knew existed. Does it hurt? Sometimes. The information is overwhelming, but the keeper helps me filter it. We are learning to work together. Was studying the ship's database, her eyes wide with wonder. This vessel contains more knowledge than the entire galactic archive, history of civilizations we never knew existed, science we cannot begin to understand. This could change everything. That is why the Council wants to destroy it, said grimly. Knowledge is power, and the Council does not like sharing power. A soft chime interrupted them. A small shuttle was approaching the Aegis. Its markings were. The scholar said, she wants to come aboard. Do you trust her? Asked. Reached out with her new senses. She felt the shuttle. She felt the single life form inside. She felt fear, guilt, and desperate hope. No, said, but I believe she is telling the truth. She has secrets to share. Let her come. Was tall and thin like all. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were large and dark. She moved with careful precision, every gesture controlled. But beneath that calm surface could feel her terror. Thank you for receiving me, said, bowing her head. I know I am taking a great risk. Why help us? Asked. Your people have been enemies of the Council for centuries, but you have never helped humans before. His face tightened. Because my people have lied. For 12 million years we have hidden the truth, and that lie is why I am here. She looked at the walls of the ship with something like shame. My ancestors found this vessel long ago. They tried to bond with it as you have done. They believed they were worthy. They were the species in the galaxy, after all, the most logical, the most advanced. What happened? Asked. The ship rejected them, not gently, violently. It called them cold, empty. It said they had forgotten how to feel. Thousands of my people died trying to force the bond. His voice cracked. We covered up the truth. We buried the records. We told ourselves we were too evolved for such a primitive test, but the truth is, we failed, and we never recovered. She turned to face directly. When I heard a human had succeeded where we failed, I had to understand why. What do you have that we lack? Thought about the question. She remembered the keeper's words. You are not cold, she said gently. I can feel your emotions right now, your shame, your hope, your fear. Those are real feelings. But they are controlled, said. We train ourselves from childhood to suppress emotion. We believe logic is superior to feeling. Perhaps we were wrong. The Aegis dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Before them hung a world of endless white stone, the archive world. Its surface was covered in structures too regular to be natural, buildings that stretched to the horizon, libraries that held the memories of the universe's first children. They landed near the largest structure, a dome so massive it had its own weather system. Clouds formed beneath its ceiling. Rain fell on stone floors that had not been touched in millions of years. Inside they found the archive. Holographic projections filled the air, recordings of beings made of light and thought, the creators. They spoke in languages that the keeper translated instantly. We are the first, they said. We existed before time had meaning. We watched the universe cool and form. We seeded it with life because we were lonely. We wanted children, companions, friends. The images showed world after world being touched by their power. Life spreading across the galaxy like flowers blooming in spring. We created many species. We gave them intelligence. We gave them curiosity. We gave them potential. And we waited to see what they would become. The recordings showed the tests. Species after species trying to bond with the Aegis, all of them failing. The with their cold logic, the with their rage. Others who were too fearful, too proud, too selfish. We were losing hope, the creators said. Perhaps we had failed. Perhaps no species would ever be worthy. Then the images changed. They showed Earth, a small blue world on the edge of nowhere. Then we found them, a species so strange, so contradictory that we did not understand them at first. They were weak, yet they fought against impossible odds. They were mortal, yet they dreamed of immortality. They hurt each other, yet they also healed each other. They were capable of terrible cruelty and magnificent kindness, sometimes in the same moment. Watched images of human history flash before her. Wars and weddings, funerals and festivals, destruction and creation, the full spectrum of human experience. We called them the dreamers who weep. They could feel sorrow deeper than any species we had seen. And because they could feel such deep sorrow, they could also feel such profound love. They did not hide from their emotions. They embraced them. That was their gift. The final recording showed the creators fading, their light dimming as their long existence came to an end. We leave everything to the dreamers, the ship, the gates, the power to connect the galaxy. We trust them because they know what we never learned, that the heart matters more than the mind, that hope matters more than logic, that love is the only force worth fighting for. The recording ended. Silence filled the archive. Was crying, she did not try to hide it. We spent 12 million years believing we were superior, and we missed the point entirely. Placed her hand on the shoulder. It is not too late, you can still learn, we all can. An alarm rang through the archive. The keeper's voice was urgent. A fleet has arrived, Commander. He has brought 50 warships. They are surrounding the planet. His voice crackled through the communication systems. Human, you have stolen sacred property. You have corrupted ancient technology. You have the Galactic Council. His voice dripped with hatred. Surrender now, or I will reduce this world to dust. You have 1 hour. Looked at her friends. At the archive that held the memories of the universe's first children. She was not going to surrender, but she was not going to fight either. She was going to do something much more dangerous. She was going to open the gates. The fleet surrounded the planet like a cage of steel and fire. 50 warships, enough firepower to shatter a moon. Commander stood on his bridge and smiled. There was nowhere for the humans to run. Commander, his sensor officer reported, the ancient vessel is powering up. It appears to be preparing for something. Let them try, said. They cannot fight 50 ships, and they cannot escape. All possible exit routes are blocked. He did not understand. He could not understand. He thought in terms of guns and shields, attack and defense. He could not imagine what was about to do. Inside the Aegis, sat in the heart of the ship. The crystal pillar glowed around her. Her eyes were closed, but she was seeing more clearly than ever before. The keeper showed her the gate network. Thousands of pathways connecting every corner of the galaxy. They had been sealed for 12 million years. Opening them would change everything. Are you certain? The keeper asked. Once opened, the gates cannot be closed again. The galaxy will be connected forever. Species that have never met will find each other. Some will become friends. Some will become enemies. There will be chaos. There will also be possibility, said. I would rather have a messy universe full of connections than a neat one full of isolation. The will not accept this. The Council will lose their control. There will be war. Maybe, or maybe, when species actually meet each other, they will find more reasons to cooperate than to fight. I have to believe that. I have to hope. The keeper was silent for a moment. Then it spoke with something that sounded almost like affection. This is why I chose humans. You hope against all evidence. You dream against all logic. It is beautiful and foolish and wonderful. Will you help me? I have waited 12 million years for this moment. Of course, I will help you. Captain and stood at the observation window, watching the fleet close in. Stood with them, her hands trembling. What is she doing? Asked. I do not know, admitted, but I trust her. Even if it gets us all killed. Looked at the scholar. Especially then, humans do not abandon each other, and we do not give up, not until the very end. Space around the Aegis began to glow. At first it was just a shimmer like heat rising from hot stone. Then the light grew brighter, stronger. It spread from the ancient ship in waves, reaching toward the stars. On's bridge, alarm screamed. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Unknown energy signature," his officer shouted. "It is spreading, it is. Sir, it is reaching across the entire sector." Watched in horror as points of light appeared throughout space. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. Ancient gates, hidden for millions of years, suddenly blazing to life. Each one was a doorway to somewhere else. The galaxy, which had always been vast and disconnected, was suddenly full of pathways. "No," whispered, "this cannot be happening." In the galactic core, where no ship had traveled since the dawn of time, a structure awakened. The cradle, birthplace of all seeded life. Its ancient systems activated for the first time in 12 million years. The Aegis flew toward it, passing through the Council fleet like a ghost through fog. The warships tried to follow, but the gate passages destabilized their engines. One by one, ships fell behind, powerless to pursue. Only the Aegis could navigate these ancient roads. The cradle hung in orbit around a dying star. It was beautiful and sad, a monument to a civilization that had given everything so that others might live. Inside, one last echo of the creators waited. Walked through halls of light, and followed her. They found the echo in a room at the heart of the structure, a fatting consciousness, barely visible, clinging to existence through sheer will. "You came," it said. Its voice was like wind through leaves. "I was not sure anyone would come." "I came," said. "Your ship found me, your keeper guided me, and now I am here." "Then my long watch is over," the echo flickered. "I have held on for so long, waiting, hopping. So many species came and were found wanting. I began to despair. But then I felt you, a species that could weep for strangers, that could hope for the impossible, that could love without reason." It reached out to her with a hand made of fatting light. "The galaxy has grown divided. Species hide behind borders and walls. They fear each other because they do not know each other. The gates were sealed because we believed no one was ready to unite them." The echo's voice grew weak. "But you are ready. I believe that now, so I give you a choice." "What choice?" "Close the gates. Let species remain separate. It is safer. There will be less conflict." The light wavered. "Or open them fully. Let everyone find each other. It will be dangerous, chaotic, but it will also be alive." Looked at her friends. His face was calm. Eyes were bright with unshed tears. Even, who had grown up believing in separation and control, nodded slowly. "I have spent my life finding lost things," said, "giving dead ships a second chance, connecting broken pieces." She smiled. "How can I choose isolation when connection is who I am?" She reached out and touched the echo's hand. "Open the gates, all of them." Light exploded through the cradle, through the gates, through the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, ancient passages illuminated. Species that had never met found roads leading to each other. The Council's control shattered like glass. Their monopoly on travel and trade ended in an instant. There would be chaos, there would be conflict, but there would also be wonder. First meetings between civilizations, new friendships, new possibilities. Outside the cradle's crippled flagship drifted. His weapons were dead. His engines were dying. He had failed. Everything his people had worked for, their power, their control, was gone. A message came through his communication system. "Commander, this is of the Aegis. Do you need assistance?" Wanted to scream. He wanted to curse. He wanted to destroy something. But his ship was helpless, and his crew was looking at him with fear in their eyes. "Why would you help me?" he asked bitterly. "I tried to kill you." "Because you are alive and you need help. That is all the reason I need." Closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, he did not understand his enemy. Mercy made no sense. Kindness to those who had wronged you was illogical. But perhaps that was the point. "I accept your help," he said slowly, "and I wish to understand. why humans are the way they are, why you were chosen when my people were rejected. Come aboard, said. We have a long journey ahead, plenty of time to talk. The Aegis rescued and his surviving crew. It was the first of many impossible alliances, a commander swearing loyalty to a human, a scholar embracing emotion, species reaching across old divisions to find common ground. Years later, they would call this moment the awakening, the beginning of a new era, the day the gates opened and the galaxy started learning to be a family. But for now, simply stood on the bridge of her ancient ship, looking out at the stars. The gates glowed in the distance like candles in an endless night. The universe was full of danger and beauty and possibility. The keeper's voice whispered in her mind, thank you for ending my loneliness. She smiled, thank you for calling my name. The ship hummed beneath her feet, alive, happy, finally home. The dreamers who weep had inherited the stars, and they would carry hope to every corner of the galaxy. Because that was what humans did. They hoped, they dreamed, they reached out, and they never ever gave up.